Hello, first graders. It's me, Mr. B. Happy Monday. I have been thinking about you a lot and missing you even more. But I hope you're having a good day and a good first school day of Holy Week, the second actual day of Holy Week. Hosanna. All right. So, I have the video camera from my phone facing the screen because we're going to be reading some more about continents and countries of the world. But as you can see my reflection in the screen, so that tells you, you know from science that this computer screen must be a smooth and shiny surface as the light from the sun, the light rays come. They come, bounce off of my shiny head and reflect onto the screen and then back into the camera and into your eyes and then your nerves and your brain. All right, so we got even a little bit of science in here. Before we get going, I want to just welcome you the way we welcome everybody in first grade. So you ready? Here we go. Elbow, elbow, namaste. Right, and that is namaste is an Indian word. India is a country in Asia. Today we're not going to read about Asia, but this week I'm sure we will read about Asia. But today we're going to read about Europe. So here's the book that we've been reading. The forgive my finger if it comes across here. So the title is Continents, Countries, and Maps. That tells you the main idea of this book is all about continents, countries, and maps. And there's a good picture of some of the continents. So there's North America, which we already read about, South America, orange. Now today we're going to go over to Europe. Later this week I think we'll be talking about Africa and then Asia. Okay, so Europe is the country where a lot of our ancestors, for people in the United States, a lot of our great-great-grandmas and great-great-grandpas came from countries in Europe like England and France and Germany and Ireland and Poland and Italy and Spain and Russia. Okay, so I'm just going back. You can see the pictures and pages that we've read. And as we're reading, we're going to think about the author's purpose is to teach us about continents, countries, and maps, and especially some of the details about the places in each continent. So last week we read about, on Friday, last time we read about South America, and we learned that the Amazon rain, so some of the details that we want to get into our head. First of all, there's 12 countries in South America. The Amazon rainforest is in northern South America, in Brazil, and the Amazon River goes right through the Amazon rainforest right here. It's the second longest or biggest river in the world. And we learned that Brazil is the biggest country. Suriname is the smallest country. Here's the Amazon rainforest, where we learned about some of the animals like electric eels. Here's the poisonous arrow frog. We learned that they have lily pads that are so big and strong that human beings could stand on them. We learned about the Kayopo people who live in the Amazon rainforest and have for thousands of years. We learned that they are hunters. We saw some of what the clothes and head dressings that they wear, right? We learned that South America has the Andes Mountains on the western coast of South America, and it is the longest mountain range in the world. It goes all the way down the western or left-hand side of South America. We learned that there are ancient and modern cities in the Andes. There's Machu Picchu, which was, if I remember, that was a Aztec city. Remember the Aztec? No, I'm wrong. It was built by the Inca. Remember the three Native American tribes, the Inca, the Aztec, and the Mayas. Yep, I was wrong. That's Inca city, Machu Picchu. So I still got to reread this to get it in my head that it's the Incas, not the Aztecs or the Mayas. And then another modern city is La Paz, the capital of Bolivia. There's La Paz. All right, so now we're ready to read about Europe. The subtitle says Europe. Europe, by the way, is definitely a naughty word. It should be, well, EU sometimes makes the y sound. You haven't learned that yet, but it should be Europe. R-O-P-E is rope, Europe. But it's not Europe, it's Europe. Why? I don't know. We just got a naughty language. All right. So Europe. Whoops. Oh, I'm just going to move the camera around so you get a better view. All right. So it says Europe is the second smallest continent in size. That's interesting. Can you guess what the smallest one is? We'll come back to it. Europe is the second smallest. But there are 44 countries in Europe. That's more countries than in North America or South America. The largest country in Europe is Russia. The smallest country is Vatican City, where Pope Francis lives. It's actually a country. Very cool. But as you will discover, Russia is not only in Europe, it is also in Asia. Russia is, I believe, the only country that covers or is in two different continents. So here's a map of Europe. There's Russia over there to the right. Okay. So they labeled some of the countries. Here's the United Kingdom, that's England. There's Ireland that we read about. Some other places that are labeled: France, where we say merci beaucoup. Italy, where we say grazie. And in Italy, or in the middle of Italy, the capital is Rome, and in Rome, Vatican City. Greece. I can point out to you some other really important countries. This big country here is Germany. A lot of people in Wisconsin came from Germany. In Germany, they say Danke. That's how they say thank you. These countries up here, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Poland, where they say Dziękuję. And then Spain and Portugal over here. In Spain is where Christopher Columbus sailed from. And so that's where the Spanish language comes from. All right. Let's see what we read about each European country. It says each European country has its own customs, government, laws, and languages. I think it said there were 44 countries, right? And it says, I'm going to adjust this a little so you can see it better. It says each European country has its own landscape. For example, the country of Ireland is on an island, while the country of Austria is on the continent of Europe and is mostly covered in mountains. Austria. In Austria, they mostly speak German, a little bit of Italian. That is a picture of Ireland, I'm pretty sure. Moscow, the capital of Russia, is the largest city in Europe. Russia also has the Volga River, which is the longest river in Europe, and Mount Elbrus, which is the highest mountain in Europe. And you guessed it, Lake Ladoga, the largest lake in Europe, is also in Russia. Remember, and in Russia, the way we say thank you is spasiba. Can you say that? Spasiba. Here's a picture of Moscow. This building here is actually like in the United States, the president lives in the White House. The Russian leaders live in the Kremlin. That's the Kremlin. There's Lake Lagoda. There's a mountain, Mount Elbrus. So we want to get that detail in our head. That's in Russia. And the Volga River, the longest river in Europe. So Russia has a lot of the biggest things. In addition to Moscow, there are many other beautiful cities in Europe. Some of these cities are known for their famous landmarks. Paris, the capital of France, has the Eiffel Tower. There it is. They say merci beaucoup. The clock tower, Big Ben, is in London, which is the capital of the United Kingdom, or England. The ancient Greek Acropolis is in the Greek capital of Athens. There we go, the Acropolis, Athens. And, I'm going back up to the words, the ancient Roman Colosseum is in the Italian capital of Rome. So, the ancient Roman Colosseum in Rome, Italy, the Acropolis in Athens, Greece, the Eiffel Tower in Paris, France, and Big Ben. So this building that's attached to Big Ben, that's where the British government works, called Westminster. So the British Prime Minister is kind of like their president, and the other leaders in Parliament, that's where they work. All right. So that is the end of chapter 5. So let's think, what are some details that we learned about that we can get into our head for the rest of our lives? Well, first of all, there's some really famous, really awesome cities. I'm sure you're probably going to get to see these someday in your life, and it's going to be so cool when you do. So Rome, that's where the Romans, this was from the Roman Empire. Remember, the Romans were a big part of the story of Jesus. They were the most powerful country in the world back in the time of Jesus. The Greeks were before the Romans, and this is the Greek capital of Athens. We learned about the Eiffel Tower in Paris and Big Ben in London. We learned some really amazing things about Russia, the Volga River, the longest river in Europe, Mount Elbrus, the highest mountain in Europe, Lake Ladoga, the biggest lake in Europe, and Moscow with the Kremlin, the biggest city in Europe as well. So, and then we learned about Ireland, which is an island. And we learned about Austria, which is in the Alps, covered in mountains. It's beautiful. So these are all places that I've been lucky enough to go to, and I'm really excited for you to go there someday when you get a little bit older. There's nothing like going to these cities and trying out the food and seeing all the history and all the herstory. So you got lots of great things to look forward to, and I'm honored to be able to read about it and start to get some of these details into your head today. So have a most excellent evening and rest of your day, and then tomorrow looks like we're going to read about 2 continents, Africa and Asia. All right. Cheers.